Calicut was central to my work in Maui, which was based on making the case that the indigenous eco-resource management practices constituted a technology transfer that should be recognized. The ability to cross cultural boundaries between the kupuna and the policymakers at state and local levels was a crucial piece of a strategy to retain governance of water resources based on stewardship rights precedent to but acknowledged in the Hawaii State Constitution. I was truly blessed to assist a Hawaiian elder who worked for the Department of Land and Natural Resources on a project to restore the degraded ecology of the Iao and West Maui mountain rivers. The sugar plantations still extant in diverting all their resources the colonial hunger could muster while I was there in 2010, until their unnatural union with Monsanto and their collapse into biotech drained the rivers dry of their water just as they reached the ocean, depriving the rivers of their breath, or their ha, as we say in Hawaii. The word Hawaii means breath of the waters. Vai is Hawaiian for water. The rivers were breathing from the ocean. It was a fantastic thing to apperceive, the way the mountain was exchanging fresh water with the salty ocean, and how the entire ecology of the riverbed depended on this imperceptible operation, which impacted not just what we couldn't see, the health of the riverbed, but what we western-eyed ones could, the fish. The cherished and beloved fish of the Hawaiian Islands were depending in myriad intricate ways in which the rivers were breathing for the mountains, becoming their lungs, and giving birth to this wonderful wonderland of flora, fauna, life, and aquatic abundance as a result. But the diversions by Hawaiian Commercial and Sugar, providers of those HCNS sugar packets you see scattered across the U.S. in cafes, restaurants, and diners, pink packets, has weakened the great rivers of both the East and West Maui mountains so much that they had lost their breath. They were no longer breathing. And so this kapuna, this old Hawaiian elder who worked our DLNR, was doing his thing. He was tending the rivers and maintaining their ecology during this time of stress by transporting the little Hihiwai snails from the dry spots in the riverbed where they had been stranded on their journey and bringing them by hand in buckets up to the top of the mountain. The Hihiwai are central to the maintenance of the life cycle of the river and the marine ecology of Hawaii. Like o'opu, a type of goby fish, the Hihiwai migrate up and down the rivers at different stages of life and act as messengers in the lungs of the mountain's freshwater streams and the ocean tide pools which help to generate the precious life in Hawaiian waters. Skippy How listened to the Hihiwai and the o'opu. He heard them crying, and he tended them. I was honored and blessed to assist him on several of these trips. I documented it all with video, and I recorded and talk story too. It's truly beautiful. I don't know what's happened since then. I haven't brought myself to look back yet. I had to leave Hawaii abruptly, shortly after I found a chink in Monsanto's armor and gave the beast my best stab. But I still have all the footage and documents and research I have yet to write up. Anyway, I remember stumbling across Calicut's work back in those days. I wanted to mention it to you, along with Mitch and Jorgensen's work on ecotechnology, which was a great resource in the case I was trying to make that technology is nothing new or foreign to either the environment or the indigenous. We, the West, are stuck in a backwards paradigm, using primitive technologies in a field we don't understand, sustainable natural resource management. I wanted to show how indigenous practices, given their due, can help educate our cultural ecological stupidity and provide the upgrade we need. We can't hear what these indigenous scientists and technicians have to say with our cultural biases in the way. So I wanted to remove them by showing the sophistication being brought to bear in the practices of elders like Skippy Howe, which demonstrate an appreciation of the entire ecological system in a holistic approach that is entirely foreign to Western natural resource management practices. I was privileged to have been inducted into the Hawaiian worldview, and like a reverse Francis Bacon, I wanted to share it. The work is still to be accomplished. We have to translate the value of the indigenous knowledge base into Western terms so it can be appreciated, and so outdated colonial industrial land management practices can be phased out and replaced with a more holistic, sophisticated system. To do so, cultural boundaries must be crossed, and the case must be made. I was honored to be permitted to make those journeys with Skippy Howe. I also feel I have a kuleana, a responsibility for the vision I was given by the Hawaii, Hihiwai, by the mountains, the rain, the ocean, air, 10 years ago. I hear their prayer. It lives in me. It is my aloha now, part of the gift of breath that escapes and returns from me whenever I speak. It is the earth remembering through me, still breathing.